Okay. Older man with raspy voice. He appears again in Chapter 9, but the raspy quality of his voice is gone. Okay, so older man with raspy voice. You're awake. Is that raspy enough? You're awake. You're awake, he noted, and eyed Fritz up and down. Okay. Let's hit record and see if we can't get something here. All right, here goes. I'm officially recording into Reaper, which is the DAW that I'm using. All right, let's see if this actually works. The theory is I'll be recording the video, which is a little cockeyed. Doesn't make any difference. Good enough. Okay. Hopefully it's recording into the video and Reaper at the same time. All right, let's just do a little, let's give it a go. Gotta swallow the extra spit. Okay. When Fritz woke up, he was lying on a table in a small sunlit room. His clothes were gone, and he was draped by a threadbare linen sheet. Gauzy curtains made from the same material as his covering fluttered slowly in a balming wind. Not a balming. He's not being embalmed. All right, so I gotta back that up a little bit. About right here. Okay, there we go. Gauzy curtains. Gauzy curtains, made from the same material as his covering, fluttered slowly in a balmy wind, and the faint whiff of burnt wood and freshly turned soil permeated the air. He slowly flexed his toes, calves, quads, chest, and arms, silently rejoicing that the pain was gone and only stiffness remained. Fritz exhaled and sat up, wrapping the sheet around him. A little stomach noise there. Yep. See, I've found that if I eat breakfast before I start recording, then my stomach is just all over the place, right? So I try to do the recording before breakfast. Of course, now it's 11:44 a.m. and getting a little hungry, so I'm gonna keep going here. And if it gets too bad, I'll have to call it quits and go eat something, because nobody wants to listen to an audiobook with stomach gurgling sounds in the background. All right, so let's see. Let me split the track there. I'm gonna go back for a second. Okay. So, oops, I went too far. There we go. Wrapping the sheet around him. In another room beyond the opened door, a chair creaked and scooted across the stone floor before a man with frizzy gray hair and overgrown beard. Wrong pacing. Let me go back. A chair creaked and scooted across the stone floor before a man with frizzy gray hair and overgrown beard hair hobbled into the room, supporting the weight of his right leg on a wooden crutch. "You're awake," he noted, and eyed Fritz up and down. He reached into a wide side pocket and pulled out a black object. "Your clothes are gone, but I was able to save this." He tossed Fritz's eye patch on the foot of the bed. "I'll get you a robe and take you to your cell." "Please." Fritz clutched the familiar eye patch to his chest and turned his good eye to the hunched man. "Can you tell me where I am?" See, you're getting that behind-the-scenes look here. So, as I'm reading, one of the things I deal with is, producing, maybe a little more saliva than I would typically, or at least I'm aware of it more. So sometimes I just have to pause, deal with that, and then I can continue. All right, so let me see. Okay, we'll go back a little bit. Where I am. Pause. All right, so can you tell me where I am? "Infirmary," the old man quipped without turning around. "Yes, but where?" Fritz slid off the bed, savoring the feel of the warm stone beneath his feet, and followed the stooped figure into the room he'd just come from. "Where is this infirmary located?" Fritz asked again, and was rewarded with a deep sigh from the gray-haired man. "You're in the Golden City," he rasped, and shuffled over to a rickety wardrobe and opened one door. He picked a white half-robe from a stack of identical outfits and threw it at Fritz. "Put this on." There you go. Hopefully the squeaking of this little table isn't picked up in the audiobook. I try to kind of make sure that it's as firm and stable as possible. There we go. All right. What do you think? Should we go just a little bit further? All right, here we go. Back this up just a little bit. Fritz obeyed, noting that the material was made... Try that again. Fritz obeyed, noting that the material was the same as the sheet he'd been lying under. "What I mean is, what country or land or world am I in?" Fritz prodded. The robe was more or less the right size and hung loosely just above his knees. There was a linen cord hanging from the back by a few pieces of thread. Fritz wrapped this around his waist and secured it with a simple knot. The man paused, then leaned all his weight on the knobby staff. "You're not from the Woodlands?" "No," Fritz responded. "I'm from the Central Kingdom." The older man... Nope, try that again. The older gentleman let out a long, slow wheeze. Yeah, let's try that again. Make it a little longer, slower, wheezier. Let me practice it. Yeah, let's go with that. The old gentleman let out a long, slow wheeze. "You're an outsider. We don't get many of those." He plopped into a nearby chair and motioned to a stool. Fritz sat down on the stool and waited, hands clasped, for the old cripple to explain. Blah, blah, blah. I'm tripping over my lips. Yeah, I think I'm going to start from the again. Let's go back here. Delete. The older gentleman let out a long, slow wheeze. "You're an outsider. We don't get many of those. He plopped into a nearby chair and motioned to a stool. Fritz sat down on the stool and waited, hands clasped, for the old cripple to explain further. Who is we? Your people? What are you called? You're in Gildorn. He gestured, and Fritz followed the hand's path. Just about spit on my iPad there, so I'm going to go back just a little bit. Gildorn. Yeah, okay, right there. He gestured. Gildorn. He gestured. You're in Gildorn. He gestured, and Fritz followed the hand's path. Gildorn? Fritz whispered. He wasn't sure if that was the room, city, or kingdom. It could be something else entirely. I suppose that's another world altogether, Fritz mused. The old man didn't respond. That's a comfort, Fritz continued. I thought I'd died and gone to the Watcher's realm. The old man suddenly seized up and began coughing. All right, let me try that again. For future recordings, I'll have to see if I can include the system audio in the video, because if you can hear what I'm replaying, it might give you a little more context. So I'll look into that. Okay, go back. Right there. I thought I died. Okay. That's a comfort, Fritz continued. I thought I'd died and gone to the Watcher's realm. The old man suddenly seized up and began coughing violently. He rocked back and forth, clutching his throat and beating his chest. Fritz raced to his side and clapped him several times on the back. Seeing a bucket of water on a corner table, Fritz retrieved a ladleful of water and slowly drained the liquid into the older... Tripping over my tongue that time. See, this is not easy. Okay, Fritz retrieved a ladleful. Fritz retrieved a ladleful of water and slowly drained the liquid into the older man's trembling lips. Stop. There we go. All right, I think that's where we're going to call it quits for today. That's a little bit from chapter 1. So you can tell, Fritz is in a new, strange environment. He's trying to figure out where he is. And that hasn't been revealed yet. You're going to have to listen to the audiobook. So, all right. I think with that, I'm going to stop the video and I want to keep I'm going to keep recording. Wow, this is going to take a very long time.